Welcome to today's episode. Glad to have you back here on the Intelligent Edge. And we have a very exciting guest, Mrigaen Kapadia, CEO of Simply Fleet, a company that's redefining how fleets manage vehicles, equipment, and operations, not by adding complexity, but by removing it. And for those of you just joining the podcast, this is the Intelligent Edge, sponsored by Optivara AI, where we explore how emerging tech and AI-driven companies scale smarter, move faster, and win in competitive markets. If you're a founder or executive looking to take your SaaS or organization to the next level, stick around. And if you want a free growth consultation, drop the word growth in the DMs. Again, it's great to have you on the show. Would love to have you give a quick introduction.
Sure. Thank you so much, Matthew, for inviting me on the show. It's a privilege. So yeah, as you mentioned, I'm the CEO of Simply Fleet, and Simply Fleet is a fleet management application. We are based out of Delaware. We launched in 2022. Before I started with Simply Fleet, I had another mobile app startup, which was called Mobifolio, in which we kind of churned out mobile applications. And before that, I was in a corporate job with Capgemini Consulting, and mainly I was in logistics consulting, so which kind of helped my fleet management background. But yeah, that's about me. Been running Simply Fleet since 2022, so a little over 3 years now.
Awesome, and love it. And before we dive deeper, I definitely want to set the stage for today's conversation, just to give the audience a clear picture of who you are, what Simply Fleet is solving, and where you're taking the company next. So here's how we'll structure the call today. We'll walk through your background in a little bit more depth. What was the main reason you started Simply Fleet and the problem you were trying to solve? The major trends shaping not only fleet management, but also telematics and AI adoption within that space. And then finally, what's next for Simply Fleet over the next 12 to 18 months? Does that sound good?
Sounds perfect.
Great. Now let's start really at that beginning. You mentioned you started with a consumer vehicle app before Simply Fleet. What was the moment you realized this really needs to become an enterprise platform?
Right. So yes, in my previous startup, like I mentioned, right, we were building consumer apps, and one of the first apps that we had built was called Simply Auto, which was a consumer vehicle maintenance app, right? So that was actually the initial app that I built when I was learning Android programming. So the app, it was pretty simple. It calculated your fuel efficiency and stuff, but we built features into it, built a lot of graphs into it and stuff. And we got a lot of requests from these micro fleets that they wanted something of this sort for their fleet as well, which is when we realized there's a gap in the market. So initially we thought of just repurposing Simply Auto into Simply Fleet, but that kind of didn't work. We had long conversations with these micro fleets, kind of realized that we need a separate app for them, and that's when we decided to build Simply Fleet. So it wasn't just one moment, honestly, Matthew. It was more of long conversations which went on for probably a year and a half when we realized we needed to move to B2B.
Understanding that customer pain and really defining the product around it. Now, when someone asks what Simply Fleet does in kind of that one sentence, what would you tell them?
It's easy. So I usually start my demos with this, which basically is Simply Fleet in one sentence helps organizations bring order to the day-to-day chaos of running a fleet.
Awesome. And there's a large market out there for different types of fleet maintenance, fleet management solutions. What really makes Simply Fleet different from a lot of these other fleet management tools or other kind of tools in your space?
Right. So I would say that would be like simplicity. That's in our name as well, right? And we try to live up to that. Many of these fleet management applications, they tend to get a bit overwhelming for the actual users. The actual users you have to keep in mind are drivers, technicians, fleet managers who honestly do not have the time to learn overly complex systems, right? That's one. Secondly, they've spent their entire lives in workshops on the road, so they're not very tech savvy, right? So we try to keep Simply Fleet very simple. And I'd say that probably is the biggest differentiator from the other products that are out there. So it's been in our DNA since we started. We want to keep Simply Fleet extremely simple. So we kind of bake that into our UI as well as UX. And we've also seen that, from resonate with our customers.
And obviously, a lot of your end users, right? They're out on the road. You're not often in front of a computer on a day-to-day basis. Not only can they, but where can the average person looking for this type of solution find more information about Simply Feet? Obviously, you guys have the website, but where are you guys being found?
So obviously it's the website, and we have put in a lot of effort into marketing. So we are found through Google searches, right? So it's, if someone searches for fleet management applications for small and medium businesses or something of that sort, we do come up in Google searches, and now we also come up in the AI searches. So we have put in a lot of effort over there. So it's mainly these searches where people can find us. And of course, it's our website, and there's a ton of information, video walkthroughs, tutorials, scheduling of demos that is available on our website as well.
And the number one trend we're seeing right now is how do we appear in those AI searches? So glad to hear you're kind of getting a step ahead there. And this is really helpful context on really the why and the how Simply Feet was built and who it's really built for. So what I love to do is zoom out now and talk about what's really happening across the fleet management space and telematics market. So when you think about the different shifts that are happening in the industry right now, what is the biggest macro shift that you're seeing in fleet operations right now?
Right. So I think in the last couple of years that I have been in this domain, the shift that I'm seeing is people moving in from just telematics, right? So initially it was they were interested in live tracking, which was, where their vehicles are. But now they want to go a little beyond that because it's not just live tracking, it's not just driver behavior. They also want to make sure that their maintenance processes are in place, right? So that's the next step. So live tracking is, one thing, but then they still have to do reactive maintenance because of that. Now, with their maintenance processes being kind of streamlined and digitized, they are moving to preventive maintenance, which is where they can save money. Because with reactive maintenance, they may end up spending on things that break down, but with preventive maintenance, they kind of not get into that breakdown mode at all, because they are doing their preventive maintenance scheduling, they're doing their oil changes on time, vehicle inspections, and all of that. So that's where the shift is happening, right? In the last couple of years, we've seen that people want to streamline their maintenance processes, and eventually, we are also seeing predictive maintenance, right? So with predictive maintenance, it kind of helps them save even more money than preventive maintenance because the system is going to tell them when something is going to break down and when something needs replacement. So yeah, it's the shift from telematics to preventive maintenance, and now we are seeing predictive maintenance.
And with predictive maintenance, usually the term AI comes up, and not just for predictive maintenance, but for any type of predictive kind of analytics or resources. How are you seeing AI really being used in the space? Obviously, when we talk about predictive, I'm sure you'll have some inputs there, but where do you see the most hype versus what's kind of the real value of how AI is being leveraged in this space?
So for me, it's basically two things, two aspects, right? Running a technology company, we use AI just like any other technology company in a lot of internal processes. Our developers use a lot of AI tools. We use AI for customer support, customer success, and all of that. So we've seen definitely AI being used there and a spike with my employees who use these AI tools. But yeah, to answer your question, in the fleet domain, we've definitely seen AI being used a lot with predictive maintenance. Even before Gen AI, LLMs, and all of this came in, predictive maintenance did use AI, but Gen AI has just made it that much more accessible, right? Small companies like ours as well can think about developing a predictive AI model because of Gen AI. So that is definitely not hype. The other things that we see AI being used in is, things like route optimization, scanning of invoices, scanning of fill-up receipts, monitoring driver behavior. So AI has definitely helped a lot of processes in the fleet management space, yes. And the big one being predictive maintenance.
How do you continue to see that potentially evolving beyond predictive maintenance and other maybe use cases for AI within fleet management?
Right. So yeah, like I mentioned, route optimization, that's a big one, right? So earlier people would do it manually, then with systems in place, they would get routes, optimized. But with AI, the optimization efficiency has increased tenfold, right? AI kind of knows, things. They can take inputs from, softwares like Google Maps, etc., wherein they can basically tell you that this route is closed today, and probably you need to take another route, and these are the deliveries that you need to do today. So which is why I kind of plan them out. These are the deliveries you need to do tomorrow, but it makes more sense to do them today. So there's a lot of cost optimization that we are seeing in route optimization. Then, like I mentioned, scanning of invoices, scanning of fill up receipts. We've seen firsthand with our product as well, because we've kind of built this in. So that completely replaces manual work. When someone scans an invoice, for example, let's say a service invoice, uh, earlier, before the advent of AI, they would have to put in that invoice manually into a system. Now, with just scanning an invoice, your tasks are picked up. What maintenance has been done is picked up. It's just a click of a button, and within 5 seconds, everything goes in. Similarly with fill up receipts, right? So these are these small use cases which really have made a big difference, and we've seen these differences come in with our customers as well. They have told us that they've saved hours, on manual processes with the AI features that we've introduced.
And yeah, I spent some time at Salesforce Maps, so I understand like the route optimization, predictive planning, right? Being able to kind of figure out what's the best route I should take on a given day. And AI continues to make that better. And when you go back to that core of Simply Fleet, making things simple, I think AI will only continue to help make life more simple for those people that can be out on the road. They're a contractor that isn't really tech savvy. They can just use a couple of apps or a couple of clicks, and everything that they normally had to learn can be done in just a few seconds. So really great insight. And then we think, as I mentioned, there's other tools out there. There's some of these enterprise solutions, like Salesforce has Service Cloud with their fleet management, but fleet budgets are really under pressure. How is that changing the buying behavior and expectations from software vendors such as Simply Fleet?
Right. So, yeah, you're right. Fleet budgets are definitely under pressure, and we've seen, like, not only fleets, right, all across every industry, there are budgets that have taken a hit. But from my experience, we've seen that software comes into the picture when there are budget cuts, right? Because one of the things that software does is helps you cut down operational costs. So it's now clients are basically more involved in the process of getting a software. So that is one of the items on their list, that we want to get a fleet management software in place so that we can cut operational costs. But having said that, people are or clients are more careful with what they buy. So that kind of increases your sales cycles. We need to do a lot more pilots. We need to do a lot more POCs. And there's a lot more approvals that are involved. So that sales cycle is become a bit long drawn. But the softwares are still in place, and in fact, we are seeing more demand for softwares because of the budget.
And to tag on to that, when you think about fleet management, there's a lot of different types of vendors, different types of solutions. Some, there's just the actual devices, right, that are tracking the software. Maybe they haven't partnered with an actual platform like yours yet, and so they're just kind of selling that standalone. Like I know Geotab is one that has the devices. You know, when you look at all of these different kind of point solutions, there's some that are enterprise level that are encompassing everything, but do you see a lot of consolidation coming in fleet tech? Or do you think we'll just continue to see innovations like Simply Fleet, ultimately win out?
So consolidation is will happen, but with AI, I think innovation now it's opened a new can of worms for innovation, right? Because there's so much to innovate with AI. There's so many, different branches that you can take because of AI. So probably 2 years ago, if you had asked me this question, Matthew, I would have said that yes, consolidation will take place. The big players are probably going to merge with the smaller ones. But with AI now, there's so many different things that we can offer to the clients. Probably in the commodity space, like your telematics and maybe some spare parts and things like that related to fleet management. There will be consolidation, but because of AI, I think there is definitely going to be innovation for at least a few more years to come.
Awesome. And that's what makes the market competitive, right? Continuing to see new innovations, and that's what makes the market grow. And then just to end on the industry trends, are there any bottlenecks that you think are being underestimated today?
Bottlenecks being underestimated, again, from my experience and from my clients, what I see is good quality, reliable data. That is something that usually the fleet managers or probably the fleet owners underestimate because systems like Simply Fleet run mainly on data, right? And it's very important to have good quality data come into the system. And people usually think that, yeah, that's not the big deal. We want to get the system implemented. But that's what we kind of try to educate them and tell them that let's figure out how you're going to get the data. And this could be from your telematics systems. This could be, manually done by your drivers. Really depends on how you want to do it. But let's make sure that the data comes in. So that is, I think, the number one thing that fleet managers, fleet operators, and fleet companies underestimate.
Awesome. A great insight into just the industry trends that you're seeing and kind of how the market is shifting. Now, I'd love to bring this back to Simply Fleet and see, what's really been helping you in the business scale. So when we think about what's working well for Simply Fleet now, what is really driving the success that the team is having?
I would say that's two things which we are seeing right now work for us. The first one is our product, right? And we put in a lot of effort into the product in the initial 2 years. We just didn't, put something out there, bare bones product. We got a lot of customer feedback and we listened to them. We took their suggestions, added in a lot more features which they required, and we kind of remove features which they did not require. And we are seeing this now in our demos, right? Most of the features that people want in their demos, we usually end up saying that yes, we have that. So yes, our product is definitely something that is a win for us. And I think the second thing that works for us right now is the marketing effort that we put in, right? So probably ever since we started, we made sure that we got we put us SEO in there, we put our social media marketing, content marketing, and all of that, and that is showing the rewards right now because we, like I mentioned, we do come up in Google searches, we do come up in AI searches, and we're completely inbound, so it keeps our costs low as well. So yeah, these two things are kind of working for us.
And completely inbound is a testament to what you're doing, right? The product is doing what it says, and it's really kind of drawing attention for the simplicity of use and kind of the features that you've added. Now, obviously, inbound is great, but we need to have that full funnel. What would you say has been kind of more difficult than you expected as you continue to scale?
Uh, so with scaling, right now we are seeing customer support and customer success. That is something that we need to concentrate on because, again, in our DNA, we've always made sure that users get value from Simply Fleet. And when I say value, it means after sales, we provide the value, we provide the support and customer success to these clients. And with scale, obviously, the number of clients increase. We've got a lean team, so we want to make sure that we do not compromise on the support that we give. So it's the chat support, the phone support, the training sessions that we offer. So yeah, that is something that we've realized, we need to work on to make sure that our support is not compromised as we scale.
And in our previous conversation, I think a lot of your wins have kind of been in that the smaller fleets, right? The SMB space, with a goal of starting to expand into these large enterprise fleets. They might have 500,000 plus vehicles. What does the path look like to make that transition into these larger markets?
And that's outbound sales. Like I mentioned, that it's mainly inbound for us, but we've realized that if we want to get the enterprise customers, we have to go outbound, right? So I think we are working on that. 2026 is we've got that in our roadmap for 2026. So hopefully we should get there. Probably in the next couple of months, have a good outbound engine that's working for us. Again, we are going to use a lot of AI for our outbound as well. We are going to use a lot of tools like Play and Holo.io for our outbound so that we can still keep a team lean. But yes, that's the path to getting those 1,000+ customers.
Like I mentioned, I'd be happy to discuss some of those strategies with the team in terms of how the AI is being leveraged by executives throughout different industries to be able to grow those types of initiatives.
Yeah. Excuse me.
Obviously, I would love to give you the opportunity if you have a specific case study that you love to bring up that would help really show the value and kind of the ROI that you've been able to provide one of your clients.
Right. So an interesting one that comes up, Matthew, is with an Australian customer that we have, pretty big. They're into the agriculture industry, right? So they've got, I think they've got over 500 assets. And one of the things in Australia, like just like the US, is vehicle inspection compliance. So whenever something breaks down or they meet with an accident, the vehicle meets with an accident, to get insurance money, they need to make sure that they've got inspections. They can prove that they've done their vehicle inspections, right? And before they join Simply Fleet, something like this happened. Their vehicle broke down, and to get insurance money, they could not figure out. They could not get their inspection paper, right? And so they could not get insurance money. And that's when they realize that they need something which is more digital so that they do not fall into this trap again. And yes, ever since they've started using Simply Fleet, all their vehicles, all their inspections have been digitized, and they can now get inspections at the click of a button. So it's something really small, but it's saving them tens of thousands of dollars now.
And if they've been able to incorporate some of that predictive side too, oh, there's an inspection coming up. We need to make sure all of these vehicles have the correct things needed to be able to pass that inspection.
So with inspections, most of these companies need to do inspections 2 times a day, right? So they have to do inspections in the morning and they have to do inspections in the evening. The predictive maintenance comes into play when they need to replace parts, right? So it's like, okay, your spark, this is the particular spark plug you're using. This is the make model of the spark plug. This is the vehicle make model. Based on the data that we have, your spark plug is going to run out and needs replacement in the next 3 months. So you make sure that you have, the stock for that particular spark plug is an example of predictive maintenance.
And clearly my thought was around the consumer side of inspections, which is once easier. So thank you for clarifying that.
Got it.
And a truly great story, and we're looking forward to sharing more of those big wins, especially as you go up market. Now, as we look ahead, I'd love to talk about what is next, right? You mentioned going into that enterprise space over 2026. When you look at kind of an overarching goal that the team is looking to achieve, what is that number one thing that in the next 12 months you would like to achieve? Whether that's 2 to 3x growth, maybe 2 enterprise customers, what would that success look like?
Our success, yes, is getting into the enterprise market, like you mentioned. In the next 12 months, I would say if we get 4 to 5 enterprise customers, and when I say enterprise, it's 1,000+ vehicles, that would definitely be a win for us, right? So that's what we are targeting. Get our outbound system in place in the next couple of months, and then start hitting these customers, show them the value that we can bring, have meetings with them, have POCs with them. But yes, if in the next 12 months we can win about 4 enterprise customers, definitely that's going to be a win.
It's about one per quarter, it seems like.
Yes, that's
Awesome.
that's the goal, Matthew. Yeah.
And you mentioned the AI systems and some other outbound kind of initiatives. What are there any other kind of key mission critical priorities that really help us, strive for that for enterprise clients?
I would say it's obviously the AI is something that we are building. Predictive maintenance is something we are building. The product also needs to evolve, right? As you move enterprise and as you move up market, because most of these enterprise clients will want, for example, SOC 2 certifications, right? And we are working on our SOC 2 certification. So there are these lot of these things in the product that we will need to add in. For example, they may require 24 by 7 support. Right now, we give 24 by 5 support, right? So we have to now start working on these things that the enterprise clients require, and that kind of falls into the product space. Besides that, like I mentioned, mission critical is outbound. That without outbound, we cannot go enterprise. So that is also something that we have to work on.
And are there any constraints that could really slow kind of that progress? So whether that's just be bandwidth or any areas that you foresee maybe getting in the way?
I think it's just if we lose focus on the enterprise clients, right? Now, this can happen because we are already getting a steady stream of inbound clients. So we have to make sure that our inbound is not affected, but we still concentrate on outbound, right? So yeah, that is something that I have to work out as a founder and CEO of how we can do that, and by keeping the team lean because we are kind of bootstrapped. We don't have VC funding, so we want to make sure that we have money in the bank. At the same time, we have our inbound, which is growing at a steady pace, and at the same time, we also concentrate on outbound. So yeah, we want to make sure we don't lose focus on the goal of getting those 4 enterprise customers, but the inbound cannot suffer.
Does the team have, or kind of as CEO, do you have a vision of or a goal of getting funding, or you continue to want to kind of build as long as you can without the need for that outside investment?
Yeah, so the goal has always been initially when we started, we were bootstrapped and we wanted to be bootstrapped. But I think eventually down the line, if we want to really scale up and we want to get in the big leagues, we definitely will need funding. That's what I believe. I don't think it's the right time right now. Probably 6 months, 1 year down the line, my thoughts may be different, but not right.
And obviously, the more we can get these enterprise clients, right, the better, or the less we'll need to rely on some of that funding. And I'd love
Exactly.
kind of a lead, kind of a takeaway. What advice would you give to founders building in complex, competitive markets such as, obviously fleet management? There's a lot of competition, but there's listeners in various segments. What would be some advice that you would give them as they're continuing to work along those similar markets?
Right. So fleet management is definitely a big crowded space, right? It's probably not as crowded as, CRMs, but yeah, it is definitely crowded. And what I see with crowded spaces and mature spaces is that you're not going to get wins every day, right? So you have to remain focused, right? Perseverance and grit in my book is probably two biggest qualities that a founder can have. So yes, you're not going to get wins every day. Be focused, keep your head down, keep working, and yeah, that's how you're going to make it big.
Awesome. Mrigaen, thank you for sharing your story, your perspective, kind of the foundation of Simply Fleet, your insights into the market, and really your goals of really expanding into that enterprise space and really helping those large, 1,000+ vehicles, or not just vehicles, 1,000+ resources, organizations um, scale. And today, kind of, we really explored that journey and how you're simplifying those fleet operations and leveraging AI to do that efficiently. So it's been really a pleasure getting to know you and sharing your story and being able to help get that out there. Are there any final key takeaways that you'd love to leave the audience with, whether that's work related, Simply Fleet related, or on a personal side?
I mean, I would definitely say something like, if you're a founder, if you're starting up, yes, do not give up very easily because I see a lot of founders, give up. They're very talented, very skillful. They have the right ideas, but they give up pretty soon. So yes, I would just say that, put in the hard work. You will get there soon and sooner rather than later. Do not wait for those big wins immediately. They will come soon. That's probably my key takeaway.
Thank you again, Mrigaen Valadia, CEO of Simply Fleet. I will have his contact information as soon as I post this to our different podcast channels, so that if you're managing a fleet, managing resources, I would love to have you give him a call and see if there's an alignment between you and your business. Thank you again for joining the Intelligent Edge podcast. We look forward to our next episode and to actually sharing the story of Simply Fleet. So
Thank you
I
so
will
much,
keep.
Matthew. It was, yeah, sorry. Go ahead.
No worries. I was just say I will keep it recording for now. More so for note taker, but a couple of things I want to dive into, and again, I think it was a really great session. Especially the insights into the industry and how AI is impacting, because that's the number one thing people are asking. How is AI going to impact my organization, my industry? But a couple of things you mentioned, right? The outbound motion. Where does the team really stand on that in terms of kind of the initiatives that you're looking to put in place?
Oh, currently the team is just aware of the fact that we are going to be building an outbound motion. It's me mainly who's planning that, and I'm in the really initial phases of building that, Matthew. So we are looking, like I mentioned, at Clay. We are kind of so Clay is I don't know if you are aware of how Clay works, but there is a bit of a learning curve with it, right? So we have to kind of train it. We have to put in a lot of resources into it. So we are building on those resources of what we need to feed into Clay so that the agent inside Clay is ready to give us the right prospects. Or side by side, we are also building our email automation, right? So obviously, we are going to eventually send out hundreds of emails a day. So we're kind of warming up our email servers. We are getting that infrastructure in place. We are building our email sequences. So yeah. So these things are happening side by side, but yeah. So it probably is another 2-3 months away.
And the reason I asked that is I had heard you mention Clay and some of these things. That one of the ways I've actually been partnering with emerging or tech organizations, SaaS organizations, is by partnering with them and helping them drive revenue through automated systems. And Clay is usually a foundational aspect of that. And I have a very strong technical team that has deep expertise and knowledge in Clay. And so I've worked with clients in a variety of industries, right? Cybersecurity, MarTech, FinTech, starting to work more on kind of the fleet management side or the logistics side. So there's a lot of teams that I already have in place that are building these. And then it's, understanding how Clay can get all of those different enrichment points, find the right data to then input into. I know a couple of tools are like Instantly or Smart Lead. So building out those go-to-market motions. Now, have you already made an investment in this, or is this kind of planning stages?
Planning stages.
Because if you're open to it, I'd be happy to walk you through how it might be something that if
Mhm.
I could save you those 2 to 3 months of having to build it yourself, we could discuss how it might work from a partnership standpoint for these things that are already built or my team can build in a couple of weeks. Because right, we're already in February. I wouldn't want you to miss out on those 4 enterprise clients as we get to if you're going to wait another 2 to 3 months and we miss Q1.
Right. No, definitely. I'm open to that, Matthew.
Just for the sake of time, I would love to just maybe get like 15 minutes. We can just dive deeper into kind of your kind
Mhm.
of vision for this type of solution so I can understand what are the pain points around it and what are some areas, some additional areas that we could help with, right? So when I think about outbound go-to-market strategy, yes, there's the email side, the LinkedIn side, but also do we want to maybe create a webinar strategy or something that can just
Mhm.
help us get a mass amount of guests? And that's something that I can help with. And again, creating the content and advertisement side as well. So
Mhm.
if you're open to it, looking at my schedule, I have some time Thursday afternoon or Friday morning. Um, I know you kind of travel a
Um,
lot, so I don't know what
I
works best.
am, yes, actually, I'm traveling Saturday, traveling to the US. So, but next week. Uh, Tuesday, I'm pretty free. You want to
Maybe
schedule
the same
something? And
time.
I'm going to be in the US time zone. So um, there might be a bit of a jet lag at this time. Uh, Actually, not really. This time should be fine. This time should be fine.
Awesome. I'll send over a
Tuesday should
calendar
be fine.
invite for this time. Again, really enjoyed the conversation and looking forward to picking it up on Tuesday. Um,
Let's do that.
I'll before I post anything like LinkedIn or YouTube, I do send you the clips and the recording just so you have it before, and then I'll put together again a LinkedIn post, but I won't actually post it until you've had a chance to read it and digest it. And then once I have your approval, I'll go ahead and share that so that you can repost it. The best part and the main reason I do this, like this app Riverside generates a lot of clips and short videos. So if there's things that you can repost as a blog post without my face, obviously, right? Because they care about your story, not the question that was asked. So there should be some good content that you can repurpose. But I'll send that over, and then we'll talk next week and have a safe travels back to the U.S.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Matthew. Looking forward to the post. And yes, I'd be happy to share uh, the podcast as well as clips on my social media as well. So yes, looking forward to the post.
Awesome. Well, thanks for again. Enjoy the rest of your week.
Thank you. You too, Matthew.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.